On Home Factory, we get you in the mood by lighting up these Tealight candles.
Then we get boozy at bath time with a luxurious salt scrub.
And we sit back and get cozy with this comfy couch.
But first, we think pink with these queens of kitsch. Here's a fun fact. There are more lawn flamingos in North America than real flamingos, you know.
Which is probably a good thing because plastic flamingos are a lot more fun.
Invented in 1957 by Don Featherstone, these lawn ornaments have withstood the test of both time and taste.
So we're off to Cato and Union Products manufacturing facility in Fitchburg, Massachusetts to ask, well, why?
This is Bruce and Claude, President and Vice President of Cato and Union Products.
Okay, Bruce, Claude, why?
It's lawn art. Some people say it's tacky, but people love it.
What was someone said, bad taste never goes out of style,
That's
I think
right.
it was.
The life of the pink flamingo begins on this factory floor, where 454 kilograms of high-density polyethylene pellets, or good old-fashioned plastic, are measured into a box.
In 1 year, 250,000 kilograms of plastic will be transformed into flamingos. The pellets are forklifted over to Darwin, who is raring to go.
Let's do it.
Once the plastic has been measured, Darwin adds 4.5 kilograms of plastic pink pellets because, well, in the flamingo industry, you have to think pink. Right, guys?
Think pink all the time.
The plastic mix is fed into a hopper.
The pellets are heated to 175 degrees Celsius and melted to a soft, thick consistency.
800 grams of melted plastic is extruded and lowered down into this flamingo mold. The pink mix fills the entire mold.
As the mold closes, cold air blows through it, forcing the melted plastic against the sides of the mold, cooling it, and leaving a hollow shape in the center. Each mold makes 2 flamingos.
So how many are we talking each day?
Well, in broad strokes, we can make approximately 1,000 pair a day.
The air is sucked out and the flamingos are released.
Into the arms of this flamingo fan named Gustavo.
Gustavo drills eye holes into the flamingos. Then he breaks the flamingos out of their molds. The excess plastic is gathered and recycled for the next batch of flamingos in this machine called Godzilla.
The flamingos are passed on to Maria. Maria loves a flamingo.
Hi!
She's wearing pink.
You liking my color?
Love it. Maria adds 2 beady eyes to each of the birds.
I bet her house is floor-to-ceiling flamingos.
I don't have a house. I live in the 3rd floor. I can put a flamingo.
Oh, right. Sorry, Maria. Probably about time we moved along anyway. We're ready to blowtorch the birds.
No!
Yes! This is Tom. Introduce yourself, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And what will you be doing today?
Today I'll be flaming flamingos.
Have you ever gone too far and fried the flamingo?
Yeah.
I can't watch. I won't watch.
All right, let's make this quick. The beak is blowtorched to remove the surface oil from the plastic, which prepares it for painting. But to avoid viewer distress, we asked Tom to record a special disclaimer as reassurance of our flamingo-friendly policies.
No flamingos were hurt during the making of this TV show.
Thanks, Tom. That should keep our lawyers happy. The birds are passed along to the painting department, where their beaks are spray painted a cheerful yellow by Anna. And then outlined in black by Stella.
We also do nails.
Nails! Okay.
Once painted, the birds are put onto a conveyor and run through a drying tunnel.
As they exit, the flamingos are hand-boxed in pairs, together with 4 spindly legs, 2 for each bird.
Well, the mold was designed in pairs, and it gives you 2 different styles. You have a standing unit and you have a feeding unit, so it gives you a nice little look.
Sure, but why stop at 2? There must be fun to be had with a whole bunch of flamingos.
There's actually something called flocking.
It's usually done in the dead of night.
Some people raise money, some organizations raise money, where people will actually put 12 dozen on someone's lawn, and they have to pay something to get them off the lawn.
Yep, they're kind of popping up all over the place.
Hey, I wonder if there's any truth to the rumor that flamingos will replace the turkey as the Thanksgiving bird of choice. Just kidding, flamingos. Just kidding. Okay, question for you. What's romantic, cheap, and actually pretty easy?
Oh no, I feel an insult coming on.
No, Tealights. I was thinking Tealights.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a lot of those thanks to Neo Image Candlelights. And this is their 60,000 square foot facility in Mississauga, Ontario.
And this is Gary and Kirk Stratakos, cousins and managing directors. They're going to tell us what makes these Tealight candles so hot.
They're made in Canada. They're great quality, and they're our products, our family's products.
But which cousin is the boss?
See how I'm laughing?
Well, whoever's running the show, it's a pretty impressive operation.
In a year, we manufacture enough Tealights that if you line them up next to each other, you can make a continuous line from New York City to LA.
Tealight production begins with liquid paraffin wax. That arrives in 20,000 kilogram batches on these trucks.
The wax is delivered at a temperature of around 80 degrees Celsius and is held in these 40,000 kilogram storage silos until it's ready to be brought out onto the production floor.
From the holding silos, the wax is transferred to this machine called a granulator, which sprays the hot liquid wax against a cold metal cylinder.
And this is where the magic happens. As the hot wax hits the cold metal, it hardens instantly to form crystals or granules.
The cylinder rotates, dropping the wax granules in trays below.
So a candle is made instantly rather than taking a liquid wax, pouring it, and allowing it to dry over time.
Smart.
Trays of the granulated wax are emptied onto moving agitators and transferred to these barrels.
The constant motion means the wax won't clump and helps cool the granules before they hit the presses.
The central vacuum system transports the wax into a pipe up to the ceiling, across the factory to the presses.
Here to talk us through the Tealight assembly process is Nestor. They call him the Tealight Master.
I am the Tealight Master.
One thing, we're gonna need you on the ground floor. Can we send him back down, please?
Perfect. Well, as any Tealight master could tell you, the first stage is understanding the parts.
So a Tealight is formed from aluminum cup, it's a candle itself, it's a wick, and the sustainer.
So, just 4 parts, but equally important. The granulated wax is deposited into hoppers, which feed these rotating tables, each with Tealight-shaped molds or cavities.
As the tables rotate, the molds are filled, and pistons drop to compress the wax into 13-gram circular Tealights. A spike in the center of each mold pierces the Tealight to accommodate the wick.
Ah, the wick. That's prepared separately on this wick waxer, a machine which is overseen by Steve, who is also a relative.
Here he is pondering the eternal question, how long is a piece of string?
And he's found the answer.
It's 4 kilometers long.
For those doing the math, a 4-kilometer length of wick arrives on a 2-kilogram spool. The spool unwinds it into this hot wax bath, then emerges coated and is re-spooled on the other side.
That waxed wick is then sent back to the presses via this impressive automated system.
Okay. The molded candles are filtered down from the presses.
Then the wax wick is fed into the machine through the candles and clamped in place with a sustainer.
This rotating device then punches a sustainer into each Tealight.
The aluminum cups are dumped into this central vat, which then orients them, ready to receive the candles. The Tealights are individually pushed into their respective aluminum casings. The assembled Tealights are spat back out onto the production line. Organized into lanes and sent to the packaging department.
Where they're counted by this cool photo light sensor, batching 100 Tealights at a time, then wrapping a plastic sheet around them to form a bag.
With 100 Tealights in each bag, how many does that make in a day?
Millions. Sorry, I had to do that.
And how many to create a romantic ambiance?
I don't need any.
Well, that's good, because these tiny Tealights are boxed, sealed, and sent to storage.
To be delivered to Casanovas across the country.
Why? Did their lights go out?
5 hours of romantic flickering candlelight sounds like a perfect...
What? I don't get it.
date night.
Right. Oops. Okay, so vodka plus lime plus salt plus mango butter makes...
Breakfast of champions?
Well, yes, but also this. Lush's Ocean Salt Self-Preserving Scrub. A cosmetic cocktail with a kick.
So we're going to Lush's 120,000 square foot Toronto facility to meet Sarah Ponte. Sarah's going to explain exactly how they make a self-preserving scrub.
Self-preserving at Lush means that we're using natural ingredients to preserve our products naturally. By doing this, we're able to eliminate the use of synthetic preservatives. If you can use a product that has no synthetics in it, and you have the option to use something that's natural, why wouldn't you use it?
Try just describing it in 3 words.
The 3 words that I would use to describe self-preserving ocean salt would be fresh, gentle, and rejuvenating.
Great, now tell us about the vodka.
The night before, we're gonna make an extract of lime and vodka. Done.
Done here, in fact, in Lush's cosmetic kitchen, where Sarah and senior compounder Huang start making the magic.
First up, Huang and Sarah roughly chop the limes, leaving the rinds intact because they're packed full of vitamin C.
Vitamin C brightens my skin and minimizes the appearance of my wrinkles.
The limes are blended with vodka. The alcohol content is going to help preserve this scrub, then it's left to soak overnight.
In a year, we've gone through about the same equivalent of 32 vodka martinis.
Actually, we heard it was more like 32,000.
Oh, did I say only 32? That's a sad party.
Chopped grapefruit is wrapped in cheesecloth, which is left to infuse in a pot of water, simmering at 94 degrees Celsius.
Once cooked and cooled, the grapefruit infusion is poured into this steam kettle.
Then, organic coconut oil, organic mango butter, and avocado butter are added. All very moisturizing, I'm sure, but this looks more like something I put in my mouth than on my body.
Waxes are added, which will warm on the skin to create a spreadable finish. Then Huang blends chopped tofu with glycerin. Tofu is known to contain nutrients which tighten and moisturize the skin.
Okay, but seriously, could you actually eat this stuff? Huh?
If you really wanted to, you could. I'd rather just drink the vodka lime extracts.
The lime vodka extract is blended by this giant hand mixer. Then it's strained to catch any pulp. Then it's transferred to a mixer.
The final ingredient is a top-secret mix of essential oils, which get blended together at Lush's UK headquarters.
After cooling overnight, this blend is ready for some seasoning.
Fine sea salt is measured in very, very carefully. Careful now, Sarah. Careful.
The salt is the stuff that's going to really buff the skin. It's been used as a natural exfoliant for centuries.
Approximately this year, we've used 38 tons of salt, which is about the same weight as 17 great white sharks. We love sharks at Lush.
We love sharks, too. Now it's over to our packagers, Bethany, Tim, and Lori.
And that's the ocean waves they're miming, just in case it wasn't immediately obvious.
The scrub is transferred to this tap-operated depositor, where Bethany measures it into 250-gram pots.
By the end of the day, I can actually hear the ocean.
Yeah, well, she's not the only one.
Lori dips each pot in a little extra fine sea salt, which has been dyed to a soothing blue color.
Then the pots are passed to Tim, who adds a lid. They've slowed down for us, but this gang can package up to 20,000 pots a day.
In 1 year, Lush produces over 107,000 kilograms of ocean salt scrub. The pots are crated and transferred to this machine for labeling.
Lids are labeled first.
Then each pot receives an iconic Lush label and a face sticker.
Every product that leaves the factory has a sticker with a face of the compounder who made it. When the customers purchase the products, they can actually see who mixed it all up and made it for them.
And this is a huge thing for a compounder to actually finally get.
Labeled pots are loaded into packing cartons
to await distribution to bathrooms across the country.
Whoa, how decadent. A salty scrub with a boozy kick sure makes bath time sound a lot more appealing. Is it weird that I still want to eat this stuff?
Yeah, save some for the skin, would you?
You know, some would call this a couch.
While others, I'd simply say sofa.
But here on Home Factory, it's called Evelyn.
Yep. And Evelyn's made here at Statham Design's 110,000 square foot facility in North York, Ontario. This is Angelo Gallo. As president of the company, he just loves his Statham designed couches.
There's no need of saying I'm president of the company.
Modest.
Evelyn's construction begins here on this 44-yard-long cutting table with Tyrone.
A 50-yard roll of polyester fabric is rolled out. Then a sofa pattern, drawn to scale on perforated paper, is rolled out on top.
Tyrone traces the pattern using a white powdery chalk.
When the paper is rolled away, that pattern is visible on the fabric, ready for Tyrone to start the cutting process using this tool.
Yeah, that's a rotary blade, and it's used because it can cut fabric on a curve. The Evelyn sofa is comprised of about 27 pieces to make all the covers, cushions, and trim.
Those 27 pieces are gathered up and sent to the machinists, who have all lined up to give us a nice, friendly hello. Well, most of them.
Must be on a break.
The first stage of the sewing is the body of the frame, and that's done by Harprinder.
She's basically turning a two-dimensional design into a three-dimensional piece. And she's also adding polysynthetic liner to prevent the cover from sticking to the foam. But to a sewing professional like Harprinder, that's no biggie.
I know my stuff.
Next up, seat cushions, sewn by Yuna. And Yuna shows us how it's done.
They put the foam inside and put it on the seat, so you have a beautiful cushion to sit on.
For our weary Home Factory butts?
Yes.
The seat cushion covers are filled with a flexible foam using this neat vise, which compresses and releases it into the cover, letting it fill the space, creating a soft, sturdy cushion.
It's one of the most comfortable sofa you can sit on. It's the perfect sofa for the average consumer and the younger generation.
Then the back cushions are filled with a hollow-fill polyester using this blower. Adding air to the fill makes the fiber operate like a spring, and more springiness means maximum comfort.
It's all about comfort.
With the cushions and covers all sewn up, it's time to tackle the frame. This is Sylvester. He's tacking plastic fasteners onto a pre-built wooden frame.
8.5 gauge springs are clipped onto the fasteners, stretched across the seat area, and hammered into place.
See, if you don't have a spring, you're sitting on the ground. You must have spring in it to sit on. Yeah.
That guy blows my mind.
With the fabric sewn, the frame built, and the springs added, the final stage is to put the pieces together.
And that would be the job of Andreas. Andreas covers the arms in foam, and then the body of the sofa, stapling and trimming as he goes.
This is a process which takes several hours, but we've asked Andreas to do it at 10 times the normal speed because, well, watching someone do all that work can be pretty exhausting.
Is it not time yet?
No.
Studs are hammered into the legs, and a fabric liner is added to the bottom to protect against dust.
Now I really need a break.
Okay, go ahead, Andreas. You're all done, buddy.
The finishing touches are added using this cardboard stencil and chalk.
The outline is embossed with stitching, and a pre-cut leather panel is fitted into place.
Hand-hammered metal studs add the final embellishment. And Evelyn's done. Wrapped in plastic, ready to be shipped to anyone who likes sitting on a couch.
We all go home, and after you have a good dinner, where do you go? You go and sit on a couch.
Sit, sure. Or, you know, maybe even sit and invite some friends over.
Yeah, that too.
Curl up, lie down, bounce around.
Yep, all these things, very possible.
That kind of makes me want to go home.
Don't let me hold you back. Seriously, can we go now? On Home Factory, we're going to suck up to a common household appliance.
Then we warm our noggins with a Canadian must-have.
And we'll ride out with some real wheelers and dealers.
But first, we're going to color inside the lines with a childhood classic. Crayola, the world's favorite crayon company, produces 3 billion crayons each year.
That's enough crayons to circle the globe 6 times.
And they're produced here at Crayola's 452,000 square foot facility in Easton, Pennsylvania.
The first box of crayons rolled off the line here in 1903. And since then, over 200 billion crayons have been made.
Now, here to talk us through the Crayola crayon creation process is a lady with a very big job, Vicky Lozano.
Working at Crayola is like a magical land of color, where your favorite colors are rainbows and everything is just super fun and colorful and has that unique Crayola smell.
Yep, according to a Yale University study, that unique Crayola smell ranks among the top 20 most recognizable scents in the world.
So the sweet-smelling crayons begin their lives here in these train cars as paraffin wax.
The wax arrives hardened, so an oil-filled boiler heats the rail cars with steam to melt it before pumping it into these silos.
Each silo holds around 45,000 kilograms of wax, which the factory can get through in about a day.
Today, Crayola makes over 3 billion crayons in our factory right here in Easton, Pennsylvania every year. And if you do the math, that's over 8 million crayons a day.
The wax is transferred to these mix kettles, where it's combined with clay to give the end crayon additional strength.
Next, powdered color pigment is added to the mix. It's a mixture of natural and man-made compounds.
We chose to make blue because it's America's favorite.
Blue has always been America's favorite color, and it's not just blue. It's blue, it's cerulean, it's denim. There's actually 6 blues in the top 10 America's favorite colors.
Yeah, but is it your favorite color?
My favorite color is lilac. The world should be purple.
Sorry, Vicky, but majority rules. So the blue wax mixture is heated until it reaches a smooth liquid consistency. And then it's pumped via these pipes to a steel mold with 110 crayon-shaped cavities.
An ejector head fills each cavity with wax. Then water inside the mold cools and hardens the wax into crayons.
Those crayons are ejected into a cool robot arm. Whoa. It grabs and deposits them into a hopper to be labeled. 650 completed crayons are dropped each minute.
The rotary mold and robot arm are overseen by Brian and other crayonologists.
So if Brian had to describe his Crayola experience using only one three-letter word, he would say...
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I bet he can come up with a pretend reason why he must color every day.
Every day. We have to. We have to test the color with certain rub outs that we do to make sure the color has consistency to it.
Likely story, Brian. The excess wax is scraped off the mold and sent back to the kettle, so nothing gets wasted.
Whenever I visit the factory, I just love the look of melted wax, all this colorful, gooey liquid that spreads around the equipment, and just a few minutes later, you got a perfectly shaped Crayola crayon ready to be wrapped.
And on that subject, wrapping happens here on this labeling machine run by Tammy.
What we do is we put the label on to make the crown stronger.
There's one interesting fact about our labels. We make over 200 different colors of crayons, but we only use 13 colors of labels.
The crayons are stored in boxes and transferred to the packaging department, where they will meet a man we like to call Roy G. Biv.
That's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet.
Yeah, but also purple pizzazz, jungle green, jazzberry jam, fuzzy wuzzy, mountain meadow, unmellow yellow. These guys make over 200 colors.
When you start thinking about colors like Timberwolf and macaroni and cheese and cerulean and carnation pink and piggy pink, the list just goes on.
Fortunately, today we're making a 24 box, which means Razzle Dazzle Rose is out and Basic Blue is in. The crayons filter down into color lanes and are pushed into boxes.
Those boxes are transferred to this spinning tabletop, where they're grabbed and boxed by factory workers.
Crayola is in every church basement, in every school, in every house. What's amazing is that you can really find Crayola anywhere.
Just imagine, from this central facility, these colorful crayons are shipped out to tiny hands all over the world.
Where they're used to make amazing works of art for proud parents to hang on refrigerators. Aww.
Hey, vacuum cleaners are sexy.
Really?
Oh yeah, this one is. It's the Metropolitan 500 Turbo Stainless Steel Vacuum. A handheld home sucker, handmade in the USA, and handsome to boot.
And this is the Metropolitan Vacuum Cleaner Company's 50,000 square foot facility in Oakland, New Jersey.
Yes, this is Jules Stern, the company president. Jules is here to show us some fun vacuum-based magic tricks.
Now, for every 60 cents you pick up, the magic of this product is that you get a dollar bill.
He also has another great vacuum cleaner joke. It really sucks. Wouldn't you say, Jules?
I sure can say it sucks, but I won't do that.
Well, it was worth a try. This is Ken and David, VPs at Metrovac, and the sons of our new friend Jules. Right, guys? Huh?
Dad is definitely
the grand overseer.
Yeah, he is the micromanager.
Don't
the
say
grand
that. He doesn't like
overseer.
that.
Okay.
He doesn't like micromanaging.
No, he doesn't like micromanaging.
Don't strike that,
okay,
Tanya. You put that in.
Okay, won't tell him that.
Okay, well, let's get started. Vacuum cleaners begin their lives as these stainless steel sheets,
which are fed into a press to be cut and stamped. Stamping the steel prepares it for drilling by mapping out where all the nuts and bolts will fit in.
Those stamped sheets of steel are fed into a roller, which shapes the canister of the vacuum. Right, Evans?
That's how it works.
You know, Evans can roll up to 2,000 of these each day.
Then he passes them over to his friend Judson in welding.
Hello.
Hello. What happens over here then?
I'm gonna make the sparks fly.
Judson does that by clipping the loose ends of the metal, then welding them together to create a cylinder.
This is a spot welder. It uses electric current to heat and fuse two contacting metal surfaces.
It's the best machine in the world. That's why I like it.
Next up, the canisters are headed to this press, which curls the sharp edges inwards so that no jagged parts are exposed.
This is a baffle, and it's used to separate the motor from the vacuum bag. A simple welding secures it, and the vacuum canister is ready to be made into a vacuum cleaner.
A huge ingredient into these products and the manufacturing of these products is the people that we have out in the factory. You know, a lot of them have been with us for many, many years. So they know what they're doing, they know what to look for, they know what is passable and what's not passable.
Okay, 4 black feet.
Handy.
A black handle.
Ooh, handy.
And a black on-off control switch.
Very handy.
Are drilled and screwed and punched onto the machine. And then the motor goes in, cords and wires go in, and wire connectors go around the wires. For safety reasons, each vacuum is tested. You know, just to make sure that it turns on when you turn it on.
Ah, so professional. But Jules has a more fun test. See?
Cool.
Want to see it again, or you're okay?
No, I think we're okay. Vacuums which pass the continuity test are fixed with an end cap. That's the back end of the vacuum.
Then a disposable bag and front cap is clicked into place. This is Maribel.
I'm going to test it.
She is conducting a dielectric test, which is a test to make sure that the vacuum cleaner is insulated and that no electric current is touching any of the metal parts of the machine.
Yeah, it's an important job because it means you won't get electrocuted while you're cleaning the house.
If this beep, it's good. Don't beep, beep, it's not good.
Did you hear a beep?
I heard a beep.
Then we're good. All that remains is to add the labels.
And to give it a final polish.
Then the vacuum is bagged, boxed, furnished with instructions, and stacked, ready to be shipped to dusty homes across the nation.
Dudes buy it, dudettes buy it, they all buy it.
And when you buy a vacuum cleaner and you take it home, you also get a song. You know, so that you can hum while you work.
Over there, there's a hair. Over there.
Where's the hair?
It's my hair.
But the premier will get it, the premier will get it, and the hair won't be there anymore.
Thanks, Jules. Now that's gonna be stuck in my head all day.
Yeah, me too. Some say beanies, some say bobble hats, but right here in the true north, there's nothing more Canadian than a toque, eh?
Well, unless you're talking about Tuck Shop's Canadian toque in Canadian colors, made in Canada and featuring a pom-pom.
Indeed I am, eh? This is Tuck Shop Trading Company's 10,000 square foot facility in North York, Ontario, where the Canadian toque, together with a host of Canadian city and neighborhood toques, are manufactured.
And this is Lindsay Borsk, owner of Tuck Shop. Got anything to say, Lindsay?
Well, what's more Canadian than a toque?
Yep, I guess we got that covered.
Toronto is often called City of Neighborhoods, and sort of piecing the two together is how the line essentially was developed.
Great. Let's talk specifics. What are the most popular neighborhoods to feature on your toques?
Based on last year's sales, Parkdale,
Hipsters.
Cabbagetown,
Hipsters.
Leslieville,
Hipsters.
Junction,
Hipsters.
Bronte,
Pregnant hipsters.
hipster neighborhoods, yeah.
Well, today we're looking at the Canada toque. In fact, you could say we're bringing Canada back.
Justin Timberlake can bring sexy back, and we're bringing Canada back.
And bringing it back with 1.25 kilogram spools of pre-dyed acrylic yarn.
Yarn is fixed to this machine, which unspools and respools it. This process loosens and softens the yarn in preparation for knitting.
The knitting happens in this machine, overseen by Joe.
Joe, we're over here, fella. Hi. Joe has his finger firmly on the fashion pulse.
Every good Canadian needs a good toque.
The softened spools are fed into the knitting machine, which knits them according to a predetermined pattern.
That pattern is defined by this 21st century piece of machinery.
The data tape gives the knitting needles inside the machine a series of instructions.
and the yarn is outputted into these flat panels. Each panel makes 3 toques. Those panels are laid on these 2-meter steaming tables by this lady named Kimon.
Kimon is keen to tell us about the significant shortcomings of these cool-looking tables.
Heat. It gets hot.
And that would be because the steamer releases hot steam from beneath the table through the fabric.
Steaming gives the yarn a better finish and makes it easier to work with.
The panels are sent to Arita, who cuts out the pattern using this bandsaw, a rapidly rotating blade which specializes in cutting curves.
FYI, a scary machine like this requires some serious protection.
It's not that special. It's just protecting my finger from, it's not to get hurt and not to cut my finger.
What is it? Like chainmail?
I have no idea. Some kind of...
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call this the most dangerous part of the process.
Next, the toques are headed to the slightly less hardcore sewing team, who sew a single seam to stitch the hat together.
I don't know. These guys are pretty hardcore. This is Christina. She can hem about 500 hats each day.
I am a fast like a lion.
Okay, come on then, Christina. Let's see how the toque looks.
Look what you make me do. Look what you guys make me do.
Our work here is done. To the pom-poms.
Who do we have here?
Ellie Chen.
Ellie begins by making a pom-pom sausage.
Okay. She uses a foot pedal to wrap yarn around this spinning barrel. One sausage takes about 1,500 complete turns.
Then Ellie uses a series of plastic ties to shape individual pom-poms.
She snips the ends of those ties using this weird gun. The sausage is cut into pom-poms. And then those pom-poms are fluffed with a steel-tooth comb and secured to the hat. Oh, and apparently the pom-pom is magic.
We can squeeze the pom-pom. But squeeze like this, don't worry. Shake it. The round pom-pom come again. This is a magic pom-pom.
Okay, well, that was fun.
And the toque is complete. How many are you guys putting together, Lindsay?
The factory makes about 500,000 toques a year.
Nice. And you ship to?
Ship everywhere. You want a toque or a beanie?
Americans.
We'll get a toque.
Fantastic. Well, as a wise woman once said, there's nothing more Canadian than a toque.
Well, no, unless you got a Canadian man wearing a Canada toque in Canadian colors to sing the Canadian national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
Right. Or, for example, if you went to a Canadian house where there were several Canadian toques branded with Canadian place names worn by a Canadian child and 2 Canadian men, that would be about as Canadian as things could get.
Okay, please stop.
Gotcha.
Thanks. Ah, is there anything better than riding a bike? The fresh air, the exercise.
The helmet hair, the tight bike shorts.
Yeah, it all screams freedom to me.
So good thing we're heading for a spin to Worksman Cycle's 95,000 square foot facility in Queens, New York, where America's oldest bike manufacturer makes their classic Newsboy bicycle.
And we're here to meet the Worksman president, Wayne Sosin.
Any minute now.
It's probably a traffic thing.
No, here he comes.
Come on, Wayne, put some leg power into it, buddy.
And break.
Anything you'd like to say, Wayne?
We encourage everybody, get out, ride, feel the wind in your hair. That ride on the bike is an experience. The ride in a car is a chore. The bicycle is probably the greatest invention ever made. And if you think about it, it really hasn't changed in 100 years. It's a chain, it's wheels, somehow it's balanced, and you go.
Well, to make a bike, you start by making the body, or frame of the bike. And to make a frame, you use this cool Pac-Man machine to cut steel tubes to size.
That's right. Pac-Man is a cutoff saw, and he spits a light oil to lubricate the steel tubes before chopping them down to the sizes needed to make the bike frame. I love the smell of cut steel in the morning.
Those steel tubes are hand-fed one by one into this machine, which bends them to the proper shape and angle.
It takes 3.5 meters of steel to make one frame. Worksman gets through over 400,000 kilograms of steel every year, enough to make 25,000 bikes.
4 different sizes of pipe pieces fit together like a jigsaw to make a newsboy frame. and they're assembled to make the body of the bike.
And then the steel is off to the welders. They all ride bikes, right, Roberto? Huh?
No, I'm driving. I got a car.
Okay, fine, but this is where things get pretty hot.
Muy caliente. Está muy caliente esto.
Meaning hot, not sexy, right?
Muy caliente. Sexy too. You know Spanish.
The frame is brazed at a temperature of 760 degrees Celsius. Those gloves he's wearing are made from leather and Kevlar and can protect against temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees Celsius.
Then it's over to Aubrey for a second weld.
I'm gonna put that swagger, baby. I'm gonna put that swagger. Don't worry about it. This is the real deal.
Aubrey hammers the pieces into place, resulting in a strong and safe bike frame to cruise around on.
This is where the magic happens.
Okay, now for the painting. And that's done by this artist named Louis.
Yeah, I'm an artist.
Louis sprays the frame using a spray gun. Each one takes about 2.5 minutes.
When I paint the bike, I finish, put in the urban. That's all I do.
The frames are cooked in a drying oven for 30 minutes at 154 degrees Celsius.
So while that's happening, let's go take a look at the wheels.
The wheel rims arrive pre-made, and then 4 things happen. They're laced with spokes, tightened with a gun, balanced to get rid of any wobbles, and fit with a tire. Okay, so with the frame built and painted, and the wheels spoked and filled, it's time to put this bike together, man.
Bike assembly is overseen by production manager, general manager, and all-around bike fan, Lenny.
I ride a bicycle daily, on a daily basis to work.
Oh, great. Well, I bet he knows a good place to buy a bike. Huh?
From here.
Good idea. So tell us about the assembly, Lenny.
The magic happens here, because if we screw up here, then forget about it, we fail.
Well, we better let them get started then. First up, the fresh-from-the-oven frame receives a chain.
The chain is what takes your foot pedal power to the wheels, making you move.
The fender and wheels are next, followed by kickstand, pedals, handlebars, finally, the seat.
We really emphasize comfort on our bike. Big saddle, very thickly cushioned, that makes it comfortable for most people to ride.
The seat is tightened and the bicycle is complete, ready to be shipped, and used by, well, pretty much anyone who wants to look a bit cool riding through their neighborhood.
Bit?
I think you look at the bike, it just looks cool. When you get on it, it makes a statement. It tells you, hey, this guy's riding a cool bike. It's the kind of bike that people come over and say, that's pretty cool. Where'd you get that?
That guy actually does look pretty cool on his bike.
Hey, hi there.
Hello. Plus, it kind of jazzes up the front yard, right? I mean, you don't really even have to ride it.
Yeah, but with a retro rod like this, you won't be able to stop yourself.
On Home Factory, we spin a yarn about a rug.
Then we find out what makes a clock tick.
And take a seat on a famous chair.
But first, we take a quack at a bubble bath. Oh, yeah.
Ah, the ultimate bath time companion.
I am so listening.
Meet Ducky. He's hatched here at Celebriduck's 21,000 square foot facility in the Bronx, New York, a rough and tumble neighborhood that's just filled with too cool for school New Yorkers and rubber ducks.
Okay, so and who are these two here?
My name is Alan Backelman.
I'm Mike Backelman.
I'm his father.
I'm his son.
Family business, huh? I'm sensing some tension.
Welcome to my world. Oh, sorry.
You're walking home tonight?
Well, one thing they agree on, they love rubber ducks.
What's not to love? They keep things in perspective. I mean, no matter how bad things can get, just look at them. It's hard to be worried about stuff when you're looking at rubber ducks, right?
Jody Davis, a director of marketing for Celebriducks, certainly thinks so.
Celebriducks takes us back to our childhood. It's purity, it's innocence. Heavens, it's a bubble bath. I mean, what gets better than that? So, and they're yellow, they're happy.
And apparently there's a lot of happiness to go around.
Over the years, we probably have made several millions of rubber ducks.
So we'd better get quacking.
Really? We're going there?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 400 grams of liquid yellow plastic is poured into duck-shaped molds, which are then placed in a rotational oven to harden.
The rotational oven is a bit complicated for you and me, but Mike has come up with a handy comparison.
Think of an Oreo cookie. People do this when they twist their Oreo cookie open. That's what the two plates inside are doing. They're turning like that.
This means the inside surface of the mold is coated, leaving the inside of the duck hollow.
And the ducks are cooked at a temperature of 150 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes.
Quack, quack.
I'm thinking that quack means the ducks are done. When the ducks are cooked, they're pulled from the oven and plunged into a cold bath to cool them down in preparation for the extraction process.
This is a little delicate, but let's just say the ducks are pulled from their molds bottom first.
Looks like some of them get stuck.
Sometimes.
Looks a little undignified.
Yeah, it's the only way to do it, unless you want to sculpt every one of them.
Extracted ducks are brought here for buffing and trimming to get rid of any excess plastic.
Then the smooth, polished ducks are ready for painting, which goes a little something like this. Orange beak. Work it, ducky! Work it! White eyes. Black pupils. White highlight. Polish. And done.
This is Lizzie.
And that is her duck face.
Lizzie's going to tell us about duck painting.
We have to keep the duck in a row.
Lizzie and her team can paint 2,500 ducks in just half a day.
Wow. Painted, polished ducks are brought to Myrtelina in quality control.
She's inserting 50-gram weights into the duck's undercarriage.
Ooh, saucy.
Which will make them float, which is important because...
Well, because you want them in the bathtub. They gotta float. All of the Celebriducks are weighted on the bottom. You throw him in on his head, he will go upright. Now that's a rubber duck.
Which is why Myrtelina conducts this highly scientific float test to make sure they don't sink.
Dead duck, duck. If they don't float. Dead duck.
Dead duck. The surviving ducks are sent to be packaged.
First, they're individually wrapped. Then they're boxed and sealed, ready for distribution to, well, mostly Jody.
I must have at least maybe 300 rubber ducks, which isn't a lot at all.
No, not a lot at all.
This is the duck that I designed. This is my quilting rubber ducky. And then this is one of my Dixie duckies.
Well, okay. Is it weird that I now want a whole bunch?
Celebriducks are shipped everywhere because we want to spread the love as far as we can.
People should buy rubber ducks because I have kids to put through school.
Well, then it's good news that in homes across the country, there's basically a pandemic of rubber ducks tumbling into bathtubs and emerging phoenix-like from the bubbly depths.
Turns out rubber ducks are all they're quacked up to be.
I knew you wouldn't be able to resist. Behold, the braided rug. A uniquely American product, this rug ties an entire room together.
It certainly does. From Colonial Mill's 70,000 square foot facility in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, these rugs are made from 100% USA sourced yarn.
This is Colonial Mill's founder, Don Scarlotta. And these are his kids, Greg, the VP of Sales, and Meredith, the Creative Director.
Hey, Greg, Meredith, what's it like to have your dad as a boss, huh?
Want me to leave?
Yes, Dad. Are you too scared of your dad?
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
It's okay. He's gone. It's all right.
Well, we grew up not really wanting to be in the business, to be honest with you. Going to work for your father was probably the last thing I wanted to do.
Especially knowing how meticulous our father is.
Yes. I'm known as a neatnik. I mean, Mr. Organization, right from the top to the bottom. The way I operate, the way the factory is kept, I like everything in its place.
Well, it's obviously a system that works because Colonial Mills manufacture around 200,000 rugs each year. And each of those rugs starts its life right here, where raw yarn is held on giant spools.
That yarn is taken to the winding room, where it's unwound onto bobbins to create unique color blends.
Yeah, this means combining different colored threads to make one multi-hued thread that will be used in the final braid. Gilberto is in charge of this department. He looks pensive.
Okay, and how many colors have you got cooking, Gilberto?
So many. A lot.
Once the color blends have been created on the bobbins, those blends are cut and tied to a plastic center in preparation for braiding.
3 bobbins are used per machine, and the yarn is woven automatically to create the braid.
The bobbins are braided together around polyester filler. That filler creates a stable core to work around, so the final rug will be easier to sew.
The end result is a flat braid, which is wound into a holding barrel. These guys are braiding about 1.2 million kilometers each year.
So essentially, we can braid enough braid for a 5x8 rug in under 20 minutes.
Those braids are brought here to the machinists.
Hey.
Hi there. You know, they're given exactly 29 minutes to sew a rug.
No, need the 29. Need maybe 26. No, the same people, maybe 29, a little bit more.
Sounds like someone's angling for a raise.
I'm thinking. Fatima sews the rug from the center outwards, adding layers of braids as she sews.
To help spin the rug while they sew, the machinists use this air table.
Yeah, it's cool. It's basically like a giant air hockey table. Wow.
Holes in the surface create a cushion of air, which reduce friction to help the rug move smoothly and quickly across it.
Which makes sewing faster and playtime more fun. The finished rugs are wheeled through to packaging, where they're wrapped, labeled, and sent to homes everywhere, including Mickey's house? Really?
Our rugs are actually in Mickey Mouse's house in Disney World.
Sure, Mickey's house. But also just regular houses for regular humans to enjoy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a downer or anything, but don't you guys think these rugs are a bit too nice to put on the floor?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Do those people have their feet on the rug? Don't you know this thing was handmade? How about a little consideration, huh?
Okay, that's it. Everyone out. Nice. And hover.
How'd you do that? Chelsea clocks. They're like regular clocks, except they're handmade. They don't take batteries and very fancy.
And even though the world's finest minds have grappled for over 400 years with the mechanics of time,
it took the home factory team less than 7 minutes to master the mechanics of clocks.
So without further ado, set your watches.
Okay, this is Chelsea Clocks' 24,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Chelsea, Massachusetts. And we are go.
Meet J.K. Nicholas, CEO of Chelsea Clock.
And go figure, J.K. is a pretty time-focused guy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But being surrounded by clocks all day does have certain setbacks.
Chelsea Clock was founded just around 1897. I think it was in a garage for a few years before that, but that's when it was incorporated. We got a bell in there, right? Should we do it over? How many others are going to go off in the next 3 minutes? Because once we're through this, it's not going to go another half hour. Hold on, it's just, there we go. I knew it was coming, so why?
Okay, so with time being at a bit of a premium, I'm thinking we focus on 4 main things. The brass case, the gears, the dial, and the assembly.
Agreed. Clockmaking begins here with Bob.
My name's Bob Eaton.
Bob is making the ship's bell clock, so called because they were designed for use by sailors.
Rings every half hour because when the sailors were on the ship, they'd know when they were going off duty.
So first, the case. This computerized machine spins a pre-made brass cylinder, smoothing and sanding it to get it down to an 18-centimeter diameter at a depth of 10 centimeters.
And then it's drilled with holes to make it easier to hang in your home.
And voila! The brass case is complete.
The case is then sent here for cleaning.
We're gonna clean your clock.
How was that?
Ah, perfect, Bob. Yep, his name is Bob, too, which is confusing for us, but not for Bob.
Bob, and Bob.
Bob buffs the brass using this wheel, then soaks it in an ultrasonic bath.
That is a tank of liquid flooded with high-frequency sound waves which create a scrubbing brush action within the fluid.
So it thoroughly cleans the brass and removes any imperfections.
And meanwhile, back to Bob. The clock's smaller components are created on these machines overseen by Bob. Would be the first Bob.
Automatic screw machines. They were built maybe 80 years ago, and they still run pretty good for their age. I hope I run that good at 80.
Each clock is made up of 365 parts.
You know, they're made in many ways the way that they have been for the company's history. Machines that, date back to World War II sometimes. That's pretty amazing, too.
Yeah, but with our own clock ticking away, we thought we'd home in on the gears.
The more gears you have, the longer the clock can go without being wound. So Bob is making 18 gears for the ship's bell using this hobbing machine.
Chelsea Clock prefers to cut gears, which allows for better accuracy in the finished clock.
Keep the time. Perfect time.
So with the case made and the gears cut, it's time to put on a good face. That's done by Dennis, not Bob.
I like a pretty face.
I'm a sucker for a pretty face.
First, he smooths the face using this potter's wheel, then applies a special silvering compound. Perfect.
Nothing is perfect, as we all know, but as close to perfect as we can get.
Sorry. Almost perfect.
The clock is now ready to be assembled, so the dial, together with gears, and the remaining 363 parts that we didn't have time to make, are sent to be balanced and calibrated by Jeannie.
Action.
Jeannie's the master clockmaker and has worked here for 52 years.
I think by now I have the hang of it.
It's Jeannie's job to put the entire clock together, which takes about an hour per clock?
About an hour.
Really, Jeannie?
Half hour.
Okay, but the million-dollar question here is, which clock does Jeannie have at home?
The most expensive one.
Yeah, I bet that's a nice clock.
Gorgeous. Of course, it runs well because I made it.
Balanced, calibrated clocks head back downstairs to Humberto, who fixes them into their shiny brass casings and adds a gong.
Then, Umberto tests the accuracy by moving the hands in half-hour increments and listening to the chimes.
Further testing occurs for the next 7 days to make sure that each clock is absolutely perfect before it leaves the factory.
They have to be perfect. These clocks have been bought by rock royalty.
Elvis Presley, known to buy some clocks. The Grateful Dead actually purchased a bunch of clocks from us, and I'm not sure for what purpose that was.
And just royalty.
President Obama has purchased our clocks. His wife, Michelle, selected our product to bring to Europe on his first trip overseas.
That's a world-class client list. So what's it like working on a world-class clock?
It's an art, it's a craft. And you complete the clock, you know you did something great, especially when it works good. It usually does.
Okay, we're out of time, guys. Let's pack this clock up and get it out the door. These things need to be seen.
Yeah, these things also need to be wound. Hey, careful with that clock, lady. This one's handmade by Jeannie.
That's right. There it goes, back on the mantelpiece. Phew. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a seat, for I have a remarkable story to tell you. A story starring...
The humble chair.
Humble? This is a legendary Emiko Navy chair, a virtually indestructible seat.
And to prove it, we're headed to Emiko's 250,000 square foot facility in Hanover, Pennsylvania.
And here to tell us all about the famous Navy chair is President and CEO of Emiko, Greg Buckbinder.
I used to surf every day. I'd surf before school, I'd surf after school. Sometimes I wouldn't go to school. You know, it's interesting. I don't know when it occurred. People, when they close their eyes and they think of a chair, they think of the Navy chair. The rumor was that the seat bottom was shaped after Betty Grable's bottom.
Hubba hubba.
The chair was designed for use on U.S. Navy ships, and it was built to last.
They had these big, burly sailors, and out at months at a time at sea would completely destroy any furniture. So they needed something super strong.
These chairs begin as sheets of 80% recycled aluminum. Emiko goes through 300 sheets of aluminum in a month.
The metal is sheared into sections by this scary-looking machine with enormous teeth.
The sheets are then pressed in this seat mold, complete with Miss Grable's famous bottom.
The back legs and frame of the chair are formed by bending metal tubes into a U shape.
And the front legs are made by forming metal into squared-off tubes.
The next step is putting the whole thing together.
Emiko uses no hardware in their chairs, which means... Chair, I am your welder.
Just kidding. It's only Ralph, the lead man for the welding department.
Welding fuses metal together by melting the surfaces of the separate pieces and a metal rod, which acts like the glue. Each Navy chair has over half a meter of weld.
Today, Ralph is welding the front legs to the seat.
Ralph, tell us why the Emiko chair is so sturdy.
Well, it's better made than anybody else.
Next, the back frame of the chair is attached to the seat by the same process.
You know, I could watch him do this all day.
Yeah, well, that's too bad, because it's time for the welds to be ground down into a smooth finish to make the chair look and feel seamless.
You can always tell the quality of a chair by the connections. There are no connections in this chair, and that's why the quality is so good.
Now that the chair is formed, it's time to harden that aluminum into place.
Which calls for a snazzy outfit.
Yeah, it's not just snazzy, it's also heat resistant, which is important because those chairs are going into a 530 degrees Celsius salt bath.
This is Wayne, the man in the hot seat at Emiko.
Hot seat, hot feet when you're standing there.
The salt bath practically melts the aluminum and realigns the molecules, making the chair into one solid piece.
The salt bath has to be covered because if any water gets in, it could cause an explosion.
So for fire start, run.
Yeah, noted. The chair is then plunged into cold water, which hardens the molten aluminum.
But the chair is still a little soft, so it can be leveled if it's not quite sitting straight.
Once the chairs are checked, they go into a 175-degree oven for 8 hours, which does the final hardening.
It makes it as hard as a mountain bike frame. So it becomes a super hard, durable chair.
After cooking, the chair heads to the Sanoflex department, where it's Francisco's job to...
make it more sexy.
Each chair is carefully brush finished by hand. Is it hard work, Francisco?
A little, not too much.
And after all that hard work, it's time for a nice hot bath.
What, for Francisco?
No, for the chairs.
Oh.
This electrically charged bath causes a chemical reaction on the surface of the chair, creating a super hard finish. The process is called anodizing.
Well, I guess it's relaxing for the chair. After their spa treatment, the chairs head to a final inspection, and then glides are attached to all the legs.
Here's a chair that's never been in style and will never go out of style.
The chairs are wrapped and boxed up to be shipped to homes across the world.
Where they can be used and enjoyed for years.
Looks comfy.
I call not doing the dishes.
Hey, not fair.